Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Bakersfield, San Jose, California, Buffalo, New York, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So you remember we covered this where Trump sent a letter to Harvard and he was saying you better start you better create an organization that looks at people's thought crimes about Israel, and at the same time you better stop policing people's speech around woke stuff.
Yeah,
so
right.
he was just
didn't make sense at all, did it?
So it was very contradictory, and they were saying, hey, just like lots of the Zionists, they're all for free speech except now.
Yeah.
Right. Except after October 7th. And that's what Trump is doing. All right. We're for free speech. And except when it comes to Israel, you better create an organization that looks into people's thought crimes about not liking Israel. And if they're deemed a terrorist, we can kick them out of the country or detain them.
You better be pro-Likud Israel too. You don't even get to pick what party in Israel you like. You pick one.
Well, now the Trump administration is saying that was a goof.
What?
They didn't mean.
It did seem like one.
They didn't mean to send that letter to Harvard. I'm not kidding.
Trump was dumb as shit.
Trump officials blame mistake for setting off confrontation with Harvard. And why this became a big deal is because Harvard, unlike Columbia, said no. We're not going to go along with your stuff. We're not going to police people's speech when it comes to Israel, or we're not going to do that. So they stood up. And now Trump officials are saying, "Oh no, we didn't mean that. We didn't mean that."
Let me finish.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Harvard University received an emailed letter from the Trump administration last Friday that includes a series of demands about hiring, admissions, curriculum so onerous that the school officials decided they had no choice but to take on the White House. The university announced its intentions on Monday, setting off a tectonic battle between one of the country's most prestigious universities and the U.S. president. Then almost immediately came a frantic call from a Trump official. The April 11th letter from the White House's task force on anti-Semitism, this official told Harvard, should not have been sent, and it wasn't authorized. Oh, we didn't do. Wait, whoa. Can we take that email back? The letter was sent by the acting general counsel of the Department of Health and Human Services, Sean Cavini, according to 3 other people. Mr. Cavini is a member of the anti-Semitism task force.
Shut up.
They finally...
we need a task force because all the anti-Semitism. Where's it coming from?
I know.
What a collection of dipshits.
They finally overstepped when they demanded that the university change its name from Harvard to Harvey Weinstein. That's what I heard. Anyway. It is unclear what prompted the letter to be sent last Friday. Its content was authentic, the 3 people said, but there were differing accounts inside the administration of how it had been mishandled. Some people at the White House believed it had been sent prematurely, according to the 3 people who requested anonymity because they were not authorized to speak public. Okay. Others in the administration thought it had been meant to be circulated among the task force members rather than sent to Harvard. But its timing was consequential. The letter arrived when Harvard officials believed they could still avert a confrontation with President Trump. Over the previous 2 weeks, Harvard and the task force, they had been engaging in a dialogue. The anti-Semitism task force. Can you imagine if Trump had an anti-trans, transphobia task force? Imagine that.
They had that at the previous. Didn't they have this before? This is just a new one, and I'll bet some maniac Zionist, whoever sent that, because they're such close friends and aircraft carriers, this country to us, never causing problems.
Over the previous 2 weeks, Harvard and the task force had engaged in a dialogue, but the letter's demands were so extreme that Harvard concluded that a deal would ultimately be impossible. Don't you hate when you send a text to the wrong person? Instead, this time they sent it to the Harvard. After Harvard publicly repudiated the demands, the Trump administration raised the pressure, freezing billions in federal funding to the school and warning that its tax-exempt status was in jeopardy. A senior White House official said the administration stood by the letter. What? Calling the university's decision to publicly rebuff the administration overblown and blaming Harvard for not continuing. So now they're blaming Harvard for saying, why are you making a big deal out of that letter? You
I
should
don't
have just
understand what's happening.
You should have just kept our dialogue going. That's what they're saying. It was malpractice on the side of Harvard's lawyers not to pick up the phone and call the members of the anti-Semitism task force. The fact that Trump has an anti-Semitic task force is such...
Wait, let's read the next line. It's amazing. The next line is just...
Who they had been talking to for weeks.
Watch.
Said May mailman.
No, not that part. That is funny, but that's not the part.
The White House senior policy strategist. Instead, Harvard went on a victimhood campaign.
Are you kidding? Are you... Jimmy, what? Go.
You mean you guys threatened to take away their tax-exempt status, you threatened to take away hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in federal funding, and you sent that letter telling them how they should hire people, fire people, and create a task force of their own, and they're the ones who are...
You know, I don't want to say the letter was pushy because I don't want to be deported from the country I was born in, but it was a bit pushy.
Still, Ms. Mailman said there is a potential pathway to resume discussions if the university, among other measures, follows through on what Mr. Trump wants and apologizes to its students for fostering a campus where there was anti-Semitism. I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't want to be on Harvard's side, but Miss Mailman, someone should send her away.
Yeah. Somebody should put her in the mail. Harvard pushed back on the White House's claim that it should have checked with the administration lawyers after receiving the letter. The letter was signed by 3 federal officials, placed on an official letterhead, was sent from the email inbox of a senior federal official, and was sent on April 11th as promised. Recipients of such correspondence from the U.S. government, even when it contains sweeping demands that are astonishing in their overreach, do not question its authenticity or seriousness. For 2 weeks, Harvard's lawyers, William Burrick and Robert Hoover, listened as Trump officials, in fairly broad strokes, laid out the administration's concerns about how the school dealt with anti-Semitism and other issues. On the administration side of the dialogue were 3 lawyers, Josh Grubem, who cares what their names are? The back and forth lacked specifics on what the administration wanted Harvard to do. The Trump administration lawyers said they would send Harvard a letter last Friday that laid out more specifics. By the end of the workday on Friday, the letter had not arrived. Instead, overnight, the lawyers from Harvard received a letter sent from Mr. Cavini in an email that was far different from the one the school had expected. It listed a series of demands that would reshape students and academic life in ways Harvard could never agree to. On Monday, Harvard said publicly that it could not accede to them. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Grunbaum called one of Harvard's lawyers, according to 2 people with knowledge of the calls. At first, he said he and Mr. Wheeler had not authorized sending that letter. Whoa! He then slightly changed his story, saying the letter was supposed to be sent at some point, just not on Friday, when the dialogue between the 2 sides was still constructive.
It was supposed to be after Shabbos, we said.
Harvard officials, including several who worked in government earlier in their careers, were shocked that such an important letter bearing the logos of 3 government agencies with signatures of 3 top officials at the bottom could be sent by mistake. But at that point, there was no way for Harvard to undo what had already been set in motion.
Oh, okay. So some prick Israel asset sent that on purpose to make sure they could try to push their bullshit through. I'll bet you that's what it is.
The university had already declared that it would rebuff the letter's demands, and despite claiming that the letter should not have been sent, the Trump administration didn't withdraw it. In response to Harvard's decision to fight, the White House announced that Mr. Trump was freezing $2.2 billion in grants. Within a day, he was threatening to revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status.
Do it. Do that anyway, regardless of this.
Yeah, please do that. Matt Stoller says this kind of selfish idiocy will cost the Trump administration the Trump White House support. They admit the letter attacking Harvard was sent by mistake, but then they double down. All their supporters who believe them look like idiots.
Well, not as big of idiots as people that pay for a Harvard education.
Yeah.
You know, like I want Trump to burn it down with all of Harvard in it myself, so it's not going to be that big a deal, but it is really stupid that I have to agree with Harvard on this.
It is it's unbelievable. I didn't think I could agree with Harvard on anything.
Not since Dave Smith, the dream team of Dave Smith and Cenk Uygur took on Dennis Prager and that other chick, Baccia, or whatever.
I didn't see it.
Well, I don't want to agree with Cenk Uygur, but he was right. They were the anti-Zionist side, and they were telling the truth.
It's a lot of there's a lot of goof ups happening, and I think the biggest goof up is that the Trump administration has an anti-Semitism task force.
Why would that be necessary at all? Excuse me, someone said a thing to me, officer.
Somebody doesn't like my Semitism.
Somebody said I should live in Poland instead of the place where I live currently.
People are saying mean things to me over here, and I can't take. I wish the White House would step in.
Words of violence now.
So I
didn't like when it was woke, but now I would like
that's
that
right.
privilege
So this
and
is
honor for me.
So this is what people are calling the woke right. So you're
Facts do care about my feelings.
So now you found a thing that makes you want to police other people's speech and thoughts.
Yeah.
And
no, the woke right is not what that's James Lindsay calling that to Dave Smith. But in reality, what the woke right is Zionists.
Yeah.
All the same sensitivities. There's a task force. We got to get to the bottom of why anyone would be maybe big. Oh, you can't figure it out? Wow.
I'm pretty sure I don't understand why I can't hate stuff. So this is just more hate speech. So this is everybody who considered themselves a libertarian and right wing. They hated hate speech. You can't police my hate. I get to hate. Why can't I get to hate stuff? Why can't I hate Israel? Why don't I get to hate stuff?
I don't. You know what I hate? I hate being lied to by people. That's all.
Yeah.
I hate liars telling me lies, and then not only that, acting like I'm obligated to believe their lies as if they are my teenage daughter. You know, like I don't care about you like that, dude. I'm not backing up your lies.
You have to stand. You know, I grew up in Chicago. There's a suburb called Skokie where a lot of Holocaust survivors lived, and the Nazis would march through Skokie every year. I'm sure that offended them. But guess what? The ACLU and the Holocaust survivors in Skokie allowed it. You know why? Because they valued free speech more than they hated the Nazis. Right. So this is all bullshit. And especially someone like me, every year it would be on the local news that the Nazis are marching through Skokie, a big Jewish community filled with Holocaust survivors. And guess what? They were allowed to do it. So Trump doing this is like anti-American. It's not America first. It's Israel first. And it sounds like they do what they want. And it sounds just as bad as the stuff they were railing against about policing speech around transphobia or homophobia or white supremacy. It's all that. So you just switched it to the thing you like.
Who would be in that task force besides a frothing lunatic? Who would be in the anti-Semitism task force besides an absolute maniac desperate to maintain this like Judeo-Zion narrative that nobody? I'm more prejudiced towards Israel than Arabs by a lot.
Someday, Kurt.
They screwed up. You screwed up. Don't blame me or the Arabs. You screwed up if I'm not on your side 100%. I'm not at fault. You did it.
Someday, Kurt, if the Semites work hard enough and maybe they can ascend in the culture to positions of power and influence. Hopefully sometime. But until then, we need the White House to have an anti-Semitism task force because they can't protect themselves and they don't have any positions of power. We know that. But the Semites, I encourage them to work hard, go to school, and maybe you'll someday ascend to positions of power in the United States. Maybe someday.
It's a great point, Jimmy. It's a great point. Maybe one day.
We'll be able to
take
you'll
the Islamist death grip off of Hollywood.
Yeah, maybe one day you'll fill the halls of the White House and Congress. Maybe one day. Maybe one day you'll
can dream.
Maybe one day
both parties will be at your beck and call.
Maybe one day you'll be maybe one day you'll be overrepresented in the media.
Yeah.
Maybe if you work hard enough, maybe. But until then, we need the White House to have an anti-Semitism task force to protect you because you obviously don't have any positions of power to protect yourselves.
Israel is surrounded, okay?
That's
does that mean
surrounded.
by any means necessary, up to and including an underage child sex trafficking ring by Jeffrey Epstein? I think it does. I think you know the answer, Jimmy. Does that mean they can kill a president if they want?
Kurt, be careful what you're watering.
Oh.
What are you watering?
Did I make one?
You never been. Come see us on tour. We're going to be in Bakersfield, San Jose, California, Buffalo, New York, Toledo, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Glasgow, Manchester, Belfast, Dublin, Liverpool, Birmingham, and London. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.